Women that are stalked by these psycho freaks have no other lever of escape other than for these freaks to die. So manje, when you have to njefela uputhe matsogo we pope o emele monna ra tlhokafale, you will be waiting until you are 79 for the thing that is the bane of your existence to get out of your hair. And since most people don't have time to wait from the age of 40 until 79, unless they go to God to kill inja emele ishone out the way. So khonale RIP happening any minute now. Even though akuna peace to be enjoyed in the death of said people as these, because by they are going to hell and they're gonna die. Anticlimactic deaths go officing, wrapping it up for the new year, for the end of the year, wrapping up, and this guy will sit most too long sa gage a thole heart attack alo krawa ke cleaning stuff a tlhokafetse go desking. Mosadi wa teng le bana ne ba planile go ya Durban ka December, boss, but daddy dead, so I guess we gotta cancel the flights now. This thing is a widow maker. Ever bafasi. God is mad at you too, but he's killing your men more than even you. Some of y'all too as women are also going to be lighted out, but the grand majority, 75 to 80% of the deaths that are going to happen ke banna because of ntweba yentseng mo South Africa. Ene ha ba batle go repent. They don't want to stop. They feel entitled, they are possessive, they are urinating on women like animals in the wilderness in order to mark their territory. Abafazi, of which they are blocking from tender ages like 24, 25 from marriage. Broke up with my ex when I was 26 tiny years old. I'm 40 and still freaking single. Lamatota gotta die, do you understand? Abazobuya endlini. They are not coming back home. One of these days they're not coming back home. One of these days they're not leaving Jarata because they're going to be dead right next to the wives in the morning. Guzo ngoba usizwe gone. Guzo shonwa. Lenja leya se America. God showed me he's like a suicide bomber and God is going to put him in some isolated room. I was bulalaiwan without anybody catching those strays. Ain't nobody gonna die but him. Otlo press a button, he's finally going to go a bullet. Do you understand? And I will be set free from what he is. But he's not the only one. And I've been saying this time and time again, the level of stalking that can ever survive it. Haona motho o tlo surviving this kind of stalking. Umuntu azoglandele muva kena mo moring wa gago nkare ke dinta tse sa tsweng ke re leka the most prolific freaking like shampoo. Monna that's going to be crawling in your roof as a rodent and expect that you will embrace him because he's freaking ratatouille, a rat that can cook. Inja that is a lizard, a spider, next to you, and the more you reject him, the more determined he feels, and the more you reject him in his determination, the more then he decides to go. They will keep on sending women to early graves. They will keep on causing sudden suicides of women that nobody expected to go. No one saw Lomfazlona is like depressed at all. Next thing, only such a bright future to look forward to. Grandship, you are about to open your consultancy from February. We bulele, girl. Come on, you've worked too hard to be dead at this particular juncture, but look at you die. Why? Because Uspusiso has said Uguti over my dead body before you will get married. Nyabon Uguti, you are busy striving on your pusha and everything with Zamayo, Iazameka, Ngoba imitima, I say imitiam, I say benzi. So now you gotta die. Abantu that determined ukuthi over our dead bodies before Tina soyela abantu ukuthi bayophila ke maswabi la tlhokafala. And just like my little caption ngaphansi laphaya, filth has declared war. I don't expect you to you are gonna fight, right? But the only reason why you've declared war is because that's how God is killing you. Filth has declared war, but that's only because that's how God is killing Yona Lensila. Tonight at midnight, 13/11/2024, 13th November at midnight, a whole bunch of you. The majority of y'all that are standing in the way are gonna die, but I did not know just how soon. And now the Lord has told me that by the time the 14th comes, when day breaks, kuzabe kukhalwa emandleni across South Africa. Kutwa uSibambane ushonile. Oh, but he was just 35. Oh, but he was just 27. Oh, but he was just 42. Oh, but he was just 51. Oh, but this, oh, but that. And on top of that, we were planning a holiday to Mauritius. Now we can't. We were planning to go to Zanzibar. Now we can't because umuntu wethu ushonile. Yeah, that dampening spirit ka festive season causing the family or diskataba because you know unale mototlo ka fetseng last year this time. It's coming to a whole bunch of occult practitioner families. In this country, South Africa, I can't speak for the rest of the world. Judgment is here. Kadala ngasho shem. Njaya kwa America ya tlhokafala. Motho a teng o suicide, like I said, o apere suicide vest. Mara God o evacuate a restaurant ya teng mo tlo bomang teng. The Lord is evacuating where it is that He wants to explode the vest so that no one will catch those strays. And atinseka a blaze of glory and find himself in eternity. He's already contemplating. He's thinking about a myriad of ways to take himself out. Kodwa uzitshela that over his dead body before I'm out. O batla go ntsha na depression ya magnifier. Mara nna ke tlo ntshiwa mo sorrow. A lo sala ko yona a be ati lights out. Motholo o ipolaya a sola o ya diheleng. Aka seng natele morago nkare ke mogatla. There is no other way to overwhelm a stalker enjalo. If you are entitled to you ngoba wonke amanyala macheri in these streets of psychophants bamthathile ngenyongo yakhe yonke asitshela ukuthi no one says no to me aze agcina bulala umfazi that bruised his ego uzoshona otlwaetse o clapa di cherry that kaosane ba jola lena hape otlwaetse ho koropa like the floor ka moriri wa msadi wa hae ebe kaosane mmatsa breakfast otlwaetse. He is used to being freaking violent to women. And then tomorrow bayamncenga. Dala bathakatha. Well, this is the end of the reign of terror of such men as these. Ha le sa tlo koropa South Africa e kaofela. Ka mmele ya rona. Le ntse meriri ya rena. Something nje fela. Ya go nna ntse re duster the kitchen counter. Ka yona. No more will you use ihembe lam. As if fatuku, the way nje fela ungikhoga ka teng ko kitchen. Never again. Angizothathwa mina to eternity by indoda grandshab ena even the bravery yakufika la self ejardini azongidubula angishibile mamahlong. Kilchelo ka you are like, Waldo, where are you? You do death rituals from a distance and you hope ukuthi umfazi uzozibulala. Sekile la bona ka bazalwane ba tlhokafala in the scriptures. From a death ritual, hai bane rona re tlo tlhokafala re bolawa. Batho ba kotsi ba kenya dithipa mo hara di chest rona mo difubeng. We get beheaded. We get hung. We get shot. We don't just kill ourselves because somebody did a freaking ritual. So lego guy Waldo, where are you, oh Carmen San Diego? Ain't nowhere to be found. You are freaking remote, and yet you are busy doing death rituals from here to Timbuktu. Yoshona nina. Anina nayo ne bravery yakho yokufika la ejardini nizonke gwaza self. You can't even hire inkabinyana something at least if you are too much of igwala ukungidubula self. You can't even hire inkabi. And you expect ukuthi mina ngizoba inkabi on my own behalf. Kitlo ipolaya on your freaking behalf langtella. You are freaking disrespectful, like in the worst way. Yoshona nina. Ladlala, I will do whatever it takes to save my life. I will do whatever it takes to save my life. I wanna moto now don't keep down unless we're determined. Like I said, it lang mo jarateng, lit long hang herself. Okay, do me at least that if you want me, la nam funugendlin. I also wanna go to heaven. Like get it. I also wanna go to heaven. Like this place is dirt. Ang funugubala nang shilong. I take magic. Quing quing quing. Everywhere's the freaking Wizard of Oz. This planet is just dirty with witchcraft. I don't wanna be here. I can't just take myself to heaven. So you'd be doing me a favor. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints by taking me home. Mara letlong khoga di jeresi in the spirit na letlong fostero kitlo iheng. Itlang mo jarateng. Izan lapha nizongidubula. And kwazi nokuhira inkabi. Kodwa ngifuna ukuyas like it latella man. It is no wonder the Lord has given you up until midnight to repent. And on the day when that prophecy is a reality, you're not even going to get to hear it first. You're just going to find yourself in eternity. But you will have had, like I said, yesterday's work, and the day before, and the day before, and the day before. You will have been listening to me consistently. So those of you that are about to go to eternity, ke maswabi hore for all of eternity tla ben lenze le mmametse Karabo le mmametse le ipotsa hore mara why ke sa mamela la tella. You had to go. Only thing I feel sorry for is abantwana bakhona. They thought you were a great dad. Ngizwela nomfazi wakhona ozokhala antsatsi wamamina le ditete le diboladu dikeledi tse ding tse bokete fela lela rubbish ena sa tsebo rona ntsa ntshwere poho cherry that did not have it coming. Frankly, she's been set free. I said like the basadi bana are being set free from rubbish of men that you all are. And whoever among you remain. Like that celebrity that I dreamt about. To Mulalamo, I said it's a boring 9-to-5 job because it was better than to find himself suddenly waking up in eternity. Because to be a celebrity means you gotta go and bewitch yonkele South Africa. Let's the wrong woman. Le bizla tobapa la black man party le party le Chicago mo godima tlhogo ya the wrong freaking chick, and now you're gonna die. Ke lorile hey bathong guys wait thinking y'all don't understand. What's about top hat? Like these men but let's rape. Only a figure in my family, enely a child molester. A figure in my family, a historical one, good riddance. Only child molester. Every time I came on motorong, mona ona wa pere dopso, wa pere top hat, le baki ele jase ya apartheid e kimaya di shoulders too heavy. And wapere burukubo brown. No, basically think about an old school outfit of an old school apartheid or 60s or 50s or 20s man. Lady Dobbs is a one. Every time I see these rapist men, they look like that figure in my family. Only child molester. Apere Dobbs say old school bikey. It's an ancient spirit basically that's being proliferated. And every time I see that Dopsy man in my dream, I feel some kind of way I'm withdrawn. Because I can't be in his climate. Because rape. So I came bona motorong yaka initially. Ne ke mo balega. Mara mabane ko ditorong tsaka. Ko torong e ke bileng le yona. And nasi one yo guys nebale here. If I were to round up a figure, because I could not count them on my one hand, it's like nebali maybe like 42. Just to like come up with some random figure, 42 of them, all looking like that figure from my family. Just walking up and down. Kadi dops. Go some mall, like it was a shopping what do you call it, like a supermarket, yeah, it was a supermarket. Go supermarket thing y'all, as I don't even know why nakinzeke lo ga di supermarket gakana, mara when we were kids sikilera utswa di sigzo mazimba di ing from this one supermarket called Ziles go tladiso wetho re le sto do as bana, and it was like a whole rumor doing its rounds. Go tladiso wetho that bana ba kontlung ele. It was a whole bunch of us crew of abangani sayo jonja ama sweets at the supermarket. I am ashamed to admit that. Could have been like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and it became like a rumor nje engaga in the kasi. It wasn't a rumor, it was true. Every single time, ha ke loraga occult activity e rubbish. Ke lora sin ele ya kotselese when we were kids growing up mon rutswa di sigzo le mazimba le mafofora le eng kotseles. Essentially this place where people buy, a place of commerce, but where it is that others are lifting stuff instead of buying it. Ke lore le khotsetse batho ba ngata fela cousin ya ka ne le teng mo. But my older sister basically it represented the earth. God, but there were others in this ecosystem. Just to steal. While Abo Karabo were counting amasente wabo I5 to be able to buy one little thing because you have impoverished her. But this little supermarket in it got goods to buy, but I couldn't buy them. I was dependent on my mom to get me what I wanted, and everything in I couldn't wait tall, and yet again, and we were like no man's business. When I about to buy whatever from the shelves and then get out without paying. There was a lot of theft. My cousin was among those surveilling me. Ooh, yes, impiloni zipilayo, guys. Ashem, you're like little kids stealing. Eh. Hulukile he, ke ha ho tlhaga banna ba li 42 ba le bangata ba le bakana ba pere di dobs le di baki tsa go lenga tsa apartheid tse hectic, looking like they could now ba etsa cha-cha a ke tsebe tantsho ya ko Sophia Town. Banna ba ke ha ba le bangata ba le bakana ba tswa ka di goods tsa ko Tseles ne, while basadi were inside Tseles still lifting. Basitsana ba utswa, basadi sintsana ba utswa, right? Banna ba ba qenne ba tswa ba pocketetse everything. Ba pocketetse everything, right? Yo, ayazi breakthrough ke breakthrough. Nna kopa le ska tlodla lang, le ska tlodla go adonya in spiritual war for bana ba morena Jesu mara ga go break through. 4, no defrost. Ole chicken go fridging, ole frozen, o tla defrostwa, o be nice, o thambe, o be soft. Defrost. God is defrosting me, all. He is defrosting. Wabana go bata wa life condition. I'm underneath the blow dryer nje ke gatsetse. Ke a defrosta bosiu ha ke robetse. Because thapelo e sebeditse and modimo o hiele yena ke lona kaofela. Ke ha bana ba poketetseng dintho, di goods, di items, di rama, di balloon, anything o ka utswang ko supermarket. Ke ha ba tswa ba li 42 kaofela scot free, ha ona motho ba banqileng, agna muntu ba banqile lo muntu labantu. And then they gathered together just outside of like the foyer, the supermarket, priding themselves in ndaba yokuthi yeah, we got what we wanted, we stole from the Tseles, while the women were still trying to steal. Listen to ba lift, listen to ba busy ba window shop mara ba intend kholotswana ba sa patala. However, in the dream, because the earth will always have honest citizens. Goods because next thing. Yeah. Essentially, these guys, while they're in the foyer, thinking they've succeeded to steal, because once you were in a certain place, you could just get out uhambe. You're still inside the Tseles. It's like basically the place from where the tills are to the entry spot, to the entry joint of the store. Back in the day, before these 2000s, where everybody's out just stealing, lifting stuff from supermarkets, there were no security guards or people who check slips, like, you know how at Macro they check your slip to see if everything that is in your everything that's in your trolley is like you're accounted for on the slip and you paid for it, and then they sign it. Yeah, back in the day that never used to exist. Like no banna le basadi ba jwalo ko menyakong ko Macro, you could just, as soon as you fell off go telling no tsamai, because there was not so much daylight robbery, there was not so much mugging, so much shrinkage in stores, there was not so much theft. People were a little bit more honest. Okay, we're living in perilous times are horrific. In this dream, it was basically representing Tseles mode back in the day when nokusna batho ba checking this sleepy, so you could go out with stolen goods and nobody would be checking you at the door. Okay, and these men, after ba fita the tellers without paying, they imagined they were home safe, but they were still inside the store. Next thing, what would that be? The whole store got, like, it closed on them. The whole store closed on them. The gates, the garage doors that go down like that, in the dream. And then the gates that closed like that, and then they started being wee alarms. Basically, crimes are in procession. and y'all are surrounded. That's what was going on here. These people were busted. They were caught. Even though they were not expecting to be caught, they thought they'd gotten away with it. They'd already moved past the telling points. The point of sales. And then there was a lady with, she looked like me. Unanale, natural hair and afro, my skin tone. Out just speaking with a whole bunch of swagger. She was wearing, basically, you know how I like to scrunch up my shirts and create this look. Pull over look. Pull over. Yeah, I like this look. Alright. This chick was dressed like that. Una something that she had rolled up and it had sleeves like this, and her afro was out. How it's written in God's word that the glory of a woman is in her hair. So that was basically this ravenous mane of this woman was representing glory. Okay, she looked like me, but it wasn't me. She had all my features, but it wasn't me. But she had this whole outfit thing going down. Cause I was in the dream as a victim, right? With all of these mutineers around me. So this woman represented, I guess, what would be the glorified version of me. Okay, and she ought to be holding a mic, right, on some testing 1 2 testing 1 2, you know, those things that you speak into at an FMCG, on some could Cassandra and Petrina please come to the help desk, we are looking for you, your mother is here. Is there anybody here by the name of Karabo Musia? Your mother is looking for you. That thing. I'm out on some testing 1 2 testing 1 and 2 in my dream. That's what I be saying out here in these streets. And I was like, in my dream, this person was like, Mamelang here, all of y'all that are from South Africa. Lunabatwanko, South Africa. If you don't go back to your country at midnight tonight, the gates are going to close and you are not going to be able to return home. So make it snappy. By midnight tonight, if you don't cross the border and go back to South Africa, you are never going to be able to go back to South Africa. Rokwala di border. So make haste. South Africa, or you're not going to get back. When I woke up, I was like, not only did this chick in the dream be out here saying to people, you better go back to South Africa, those of you that are from South Africa better go back, or at midnight you're not going to be able to go back to South Africa anymore, the borders are going to be closed. I also had an understanding that Botswana, so a bordering country, like a nation that is right next to us and we can just drive into it. All right, so this chick was in Botswana speaking about South Africa, about South Africans in the mall are just stealing. Be deported, be extradited back to your country, or never go back. And these men, they were from SA. They were all from South Africa. I was from South Africa in the dream. My mom from South Africa. My sister was from South Africa. My cousin South Africa. Like a whole bunch of people in that store, Botswana, were from South Africa. The panic in the store when they heard that woman pronouncing on the intercom. The panic when she said that if you are from South Africa and you don't go back home by midnight, you are not going to be able to go back. Yo, it was so hectic. But like when I woke up, I was like, why would anybody panic about not being able to be back in South Africa on time from Botswana and not being able to go back home to Botswana? And God gave me the understanding, and I'm going to let you know what it is. Aseke go panika. Yo, guys, labantu laba. They just threw away everything that they had stolen. So the ramazabona maroto, the cheese, everything about basically it would have been too heavy for them to try and run to the border real quick and go back home, right? Ban ba imetso hagana ke stolen goods. Ba imetso hagana ke stolen goods, so va vele ba zi dump on the floor. Ba vele ba lahlela every last stolen good on their bodies. These men body dobse that represent the rapey culture. Batanda utata bafazi njengengani ba utswa nje. Yo guys, ke ha ba di lahlela kaofela mo fatshe di groza tsa bona tse ba di utswitseng. And they ran. Ba le kaofela di 42 tsa bona, ba ntse ba li 42 kaofela jwale. Ba le bakana. Somehow, in my dream, I got to see them succeed. Uguyo gijima on time and get to South Africa, but not all of them made it. I ran. We all ran. My mom ran. My sister ran. My cousin ran. Basically, everyone from South Africa started to run. Right? Anything, everything they were doing, they just dropped it. From Botswana, they just dropped it. And they ran. They ran. They ran. And most of them made it before midnight, past the border fence. Most of them miraculously punyogad bampete. But then those that were left at midnight, at the stroke of midnight, gwavele gwaba black, guys. Like when I looked back in my dream to where Botswana was at, it was basically gone. Like kwabali fifi, to a point where you could not see anything going on in Botswana. And when I woke up, I was like, God, all these analogies and metaphors in my dreams, interpret the situation in Hlongwane. What does it mean? And the Lord was like, the Lord was like to me, every single time when I speak about home in your dream, what does it represent? And I was like, oh, I get it. Every time when I speak about home in your dream, what does it mean? Karabo. And I was like, oh, I get it. So I was able to interpret that dream. Home in my dream always represents right standing with God, heaven, eternal placement, eternal home. A place where I am going to be living forever and ever. So every time in my dreams when I'm trying to get back home and I can't, that's people trying to steal my salvation, Libalang. That's people trying to threaten my walk with Christ. That's people always trying to mess up with my eternal bound state. And also, the status of alienhood in any nation always represents alienhood by Christians on earth. Because heaven is our resting place. Heaven is our true home. So whenever I'm in foreign lands or foreign houses, foreign cities that I don't understand, and I'm just trying to get back home, that represents essentially my striving, my walk as a pilgrim on earth as I am charting a course to heaven. I'm working out my own salvation with fear and trembling. And in my dream, going back home to South Africa was more urgent than ever. Going back home from South Africa was more urgent than ever. When the announcement was made that you are not going to be able to go back to South Africa if by the stroke of midnight you are not in South Africa. If you have not crossed the border out of Botswana and into South Africa by midnight, you will never be able to go back. That was basically the cut-off line of grace to enter the kingdom of heaven. I am South African. South Africa is my home. So that dream represented going back to heaven. That dream, and the woman in the dream, hello, testing, that was an ambassador of heaven. That was somebody that was basically a messenger of the gospel. That's why she looked like me. And whoever I was in my dream was somebody robbed from, which I am not in waking life. Understand, this is an optical illusion, okay? It's a strong delusion. I'm a child of God and I'm consecrated. I'm set apart in the worst way and I'm safer than you can ever imagine. But people think I'm in danger or whatever, because they are deluded and deceived. But anyone that does not know God gets stolen from easily. And in this dream, Botswana is not our home as South Africans, but it is right next door. Just like earth is right next door heaven. It is literally right next door heaven, but earth is also right next door to hell. In other words, it is like I said earlier with the statement that Tom says, this earth is the closest thing to hell that Christians will ever experience, while it is the closest thing to heaven that unbelievers will ever experience. So literally, earth is right next door to hell and heaven for all of the inhabitants of the earth. When you give your life to Christ, you qualify for heaven. When you don't, as soon as you die, you sink into the abyss. So God used Botswana because Botswana is a neighboring country to South Africa. And it's right at the border. You can just hop over. Not only that, Botswana used to be part of South Africa before, until we split the land. Not only that, Botswana got our languages. They do speak Botswana there, but I do believe there's also quite a bit of Zulu in Botswana. Basically, it's like it's got the same culture as South Africa. It's just that it's declared a completely different country. But like you would never be able to tell the difference between a Tswana man and a South African man from simply talking to them, because there are plenty of Tswanas in South Africa. I'm Tswana, even though I'm not from Botswana. Do you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm half Tswana, half Zulu. You get my point? Yeah, type establishment thing. It's close to South Africa, but it's not. It is almost South Africa, but it isn't. And it used to be part of South Africa, but it's not. Long story short, Botswana represented a trial phase, an environment where it is that you're given an opportunity to finally belong to heaven. You're given leg room to do the right thing therein. And in this environment, you can either choose to be a South African citizen once and for all, or stay in an Ampur South Africa. I'm sorry to have to call Botswana an Ampur South Africa, but that's how it is that it was giving in my dream. Okay, it's a neighboring country that is sojourning. When you are on earth, you are sojourning somewhere. You are either getting left behind to sink into hellfire, or you're going to heaven. There are no other things that people on earth are doing. But people were lax out just stealing and stealing and stealing in Botswana. In other words, they are stealing and stealing and stealing on earth. They're stealing and stealing and stealing in an environment where they're supposed to be preparing themselves for heaven, for home. So in that announcement, the chick on the line was like, anybody that is from South Africa, you're best to go back home. Because if you are not at the stroke of midnight inside the border of South Africa, you will never be able to go in. That was God saying the season of grace is being cut. At this juncture, at midnight, you will be handed over to your reprobate minds, and you will surely die. There is no avenue available for you to turn your lives around if you don't by the stroke of midnight. And midnight was so important. In fact, it wasn't even midnight in my dream. I heard 12 o'clock at night. That's what this chick said. She said 12 o'clock at night. She was saying that by midnight of tonight, which is the 13th of November 2024, if whoever it is that has been out here straddling the fence between South Africa and Botswana, but being a Botswana citizen, so as an African citizen, you will never be able to get into Botswana. In other words, you are professing Christians. You want to belong to heaven. You want to go up in the sky. You want the Lord to embrace you. Maranisa choncha, leza boloyi, la rape, la nka, la torture, leza whatever. You cannot be both a citizen of Botswana and of South Africa. You can't. No servant can serve both God and Mammon. No servant can have two masters. In my dream, I was essentially being told that Labantu Laba have no idea just how five to death they all are. Indeed, as soon as they got out of Shopo Eloko Botswana, and then the gates closed, God was saying, no more are you going to steal and get away with it. Now the walls have closed in on you. All you can do at this particular juncture is skip the border and go back home. Ain't nobody out here anymore walking out like a banditi with a whole bunch of gold in the bag. No more is anybody gonna rob a bank and get to throw the money like confetti in the sky saying, look at us, we're now rich. And nisazo chonja anymore and succeed to get out. Because minyako yako, the supermarket that I saw in my dream, tseles. Yavalwa. In other words, anisazophuma la ngama-Christmas presents wabantwana babantu babanye. Alisatlotswa mo ka di-coupons tsa batho ba bang. Alisatlotswa mo ka di-grater le di-cheese le di-palone tsa batho ba bang. Alisatlotswa mo ka di-nompopo le di-bicycle tsa bana ba bang. You can either drop them on the floor right now and run to South Africa, the border, because anina skati. Hence why I watch say 3 where A1 equal midnight and then a half past and then the last one equal midnight FM. Y'all ain't gonna be good. Like Halina Nako, I am telling you right now, people are dying tonight. People are going to start dropping like dominoes from midnight of 13 of basically the 14th, the 1 second of the 14th, the 1 second past midnight on the 14th of November 2024. Abantu are going to start passing away. Y'all are in the occult. You can confirm this the moment I post this video. Y'all will have already received phone calls of, some of them will have even died in a batch, like a clump, like what happened with Hezbollah leaders, Hassan Nasrallah. how it is that they were bombed in one fell sweep. Some of your occult leaders, battle tlhokafala in one sitting, like one plane crash, one what do you call this, bus accident, one car accident in a motorcade of a whole bunch of important people, and then they're all just gonna die in one sitting, or some natural disaster like an earthquake that's going to consume all of them whole and root somewhere, and the calls are gonna come through where it is that it's going to be understood that the entire leadership ring of an occult organization that everybody was looking up to, and including its successors, are gone in one sitting. Then you're gonna listen to this video, Karabo, and be like, yes, like she said it. But you know what? I did not say it too late. I already said it yesterday, the day before, the day before, the day before, the day before, the day before. I've got enough warnings in advance to this one for this here to not be a message that is too little, too late. Too little, too late. It is not. I've already been warning. I've already been admonishing. The walls are closed in. No more is anything in each one. Are you going to be able to run away with it? Right now, I am one of the things. I'm one of the things that you have stuffed in your bras, because you also wear bras on TikTok. No more are you going to walk out with something that you put in penti ya gago ntse o utswa go wulwetsa ha o sa tlotswa. And isazophuma ngama stolen goods. You have been surrounded. At this particular juncture, ke haleka gwa everything ele utswitseng on the spot le lahleng. Get down on your knees, pray to God, because unless you get saved as at midnight tonight, it's only going to be the dropping like dominoes going forward. Ga, one after the other, as at midnight on the 14th of November. People are going to start to die in their numbers. And don't say I did not warn you. You act like you don't watch my content. You act like you have not been hearing what I have to say. You have been warned. I ran and I made it into South Africa. My mom made it. Cousin made it. Basically everyone that I was with made it into South Africa. And most of the people made it. Most of the warned South Africans in the dream made it. But those that were left behind, bad dragging their feet, or that could not run fast enough, when I looked back to look at Botswana, and what does that represent? The outer darkness. In that place there is weeping and gnashing of teeth for all of eternity, and the smoke of their torment will rise up forever, and there is no rest for them day and night. No avenue to repent. They were in the dark permanently. So either bazoshona, or even if they don't shona, they will never be given an opportunity to give their lives to Christ. It's over. Flatline. Actually, no, that's what it is. Now, as I'm speaking to you, the Holy Spirit brought understanding into my ear that it's not even an extraction of the ability to repent. It's flatlining, because I just heard now from the Spirit. See, like, you know that beep, that flatline that you hear when a person has just died? I just heard that. So God was telling me that no, Karabo, it's not even that they're going to be reprobate. They're just going to die. Nshilo, ngati the majority of y'all are gonna die that are standing in my way. But in my dream, it was the majority of these miscreants that made it into South Africa. They made it back home. Bahutlets, marabakene mole, punyabam like by the skin of their teeth, they barely made it. And marensana setse morago tlhokafala. They just died. So ha kere ha le sa tlong ravaza nna ka ditlhare leng cause soro le jwetsa re lonketsa gore ke kunye grandpa out of depression, or ke kunye grandpa cause ke tshware ke headache e ngata fela tse di ngata le jwetsa gore lonka kankane ntse leng zama guys for 10 years. I have had you, the same spirit ya matota a qweleng in molestation has been following me for pretty much ever since I started dating. Mara, it ramped up exquisitely because South Africa is just tormented with this perverted spirit. 10 years ago when I lost everything, ntse ke latelletse morago ke tshwarwa ga di jeresi ke gogwa into di heleng kankane batho ba batla go nketsa Satanist. Ba batla go ntwasisa, go ntwalisa, go nketsa gore ke compromise and tse ding goga dintho tse ka dijeresi le dipendi, everything e di ka e gogang. Ke strive for modimo, ke rapela, ke balega ke gutla, ke balega ke gutla, ke sa tsebe gore ke iketseng for 10 years. And there came a time when the Lord said, you've prayed for years, now you are no longer praying for years, baby, you're praying for months. And then the time came when God said, no more months, my daughter, now you're praying for weeks. And then the Lord said, no more weeks, my daughter, now you're praying for days. And now the Lord has officially confirmed that no longer am I praying for days, now I'm praying for hours. In other words, Lord, eliminate these people within the next 24 hours. It is no longer days. It was days ago. It was weeks ago. I've been all up in this business for weeks, haven't I? It was months ago. Think about when it is that I got shadow banned initially on YouTube. It's been months. But now it's hours. I don't know at which point it's going to be minutes, perhaps close to midnight today, which is frankly in 50 minutes. It's presently 10 minutes past 11 at night right now. People are gonna die because God will not have me be taken out. I am too important, and I said that in one of my other videos. I warned you. So hale kry di phone call, this widow maker that is called the Grim Reaper from heaven, the angel of death that is out here passing over Mantlu, South Africa. Ha setse a etsa di widows out of y'all and orphans out of y'all's kids. Don't say I didn't warn. Don't say I didn't warn. Lenyetsi di rubbish, guys. Ke maswabi. Your husbands are nonsense, man. Banna, ke di rubbish right now. They have signed their souls over to Satan to a point where, even though God ukwatela bafazi, not nearly at the height, that he is absolutely bereft with irritation over what men have done, and his indignation has reached a height because la matota, the way ba hesha ngakhona, the way ba foster ngakhona, bazama futhi nokuthatha kadi washingi ba hoga miriri ke re le ya bazalwane ba ba avoidileng successfully, even godly women. And then once the Lord has killed all of these men and created widows out of women, uzo dila naladai Jezebel females that are left standing that are still gonna be stubborn. Everybody, men, women, and children are under judgment right now, but not nearly as much as men are. Little Togafal. If a woman has been dealing with a stalker for 20 years, for 12, guys, I've been dealing with a stalking spirit for a decade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I've been dealing with my ex-boyfriend for 13 years. 13 years. Kholekane, guys. Enough is enough. They gotta die. Enough is enough. Like, enough is enough, okay? Like stalkers, police don't get rid of these people. Restraining orders don't save you from them. They will rape you, unale restraining order and a personal bodyguard right next to having gone for martial arts classes. They will still prosper to rape and kill you. So therefore, absent of divine intervention, killing them on behalf of the women that they harass, ain't nobody gonna breathe. And the women they harass tend to not even be basadi bateng the ex. They tend to not even be their girlfriends. It's just strangers. Like proper batala de la morago musadi. Ona etsa di groza ko shopong. Morago amushele, and when she says no, this woman then has herself a stalker for, listen to this, 2 years. You met this guy at the grocery store, and just because you smiled at him and said hi Sizwe, he is all up in your hair like a tick for 2 years. If Sizwe does not get hit by a bus, you will never breathe. How to him? They lurk in bushes like snakes in the grass. They are just striking people's heels as they walk. They're scorpions. They're pernicious. They're stealthy. Ba fosta, basadi, manyalo, basabatwanel. Nja esona ha isa bolawe. Yokholatel. The only thing that sets a stalked person free from a stalker, there are 3 things. The first is this person getting into their right mind and deciding not to stalk anymore, and it is the least unlikely eventuality. The second eventuality of a stalker that's going to set this person free is if the stalker goes to prison. And then the third, and never comes out, because then if it gets set free from jail, you as a woman are back to square one again. And then the third eventuality of a stalker that sets a woman free and be all and end all once and for all is death. Hardly ever are stalkers successfully apprehended by law enforcement. They are hardly ever apprehended by your own rejection of them and your own rebuke, your own intervention in training yourself in martial arts and hiring a bodyguard. Never does that actually work. They don't take no for an answer by force, and they think that you saying no is just you playing hard to get. They cannot freaking take no for an answer. So unless they die or go to prison, or unless they develop their own conscience and stop, die, or go to prison, no other intervention is going to succeed to eradicate a tick, a fly, whatever of a disgusting pathogen, a virus. Nothing is going to get rid of it. Nothing is going to remove a barking rabid dog from your backyard other than it being put down. And these men are about to be put down. They have to die. And I've been saying this for a while. So basadi, take a look at it this way. Good riddance society literally needs to breathe. And your husband is the thing that's taking the oxygen out the freaking room. They are evil in ways that even you as a woman ought not take in your stride. You cannot let a man like that raise girl children. You cannot let a man like that raise sons even. It is no wonder TikTok about freaking kwai as shimani man. You cannot let men like that run organizations, and you certainly cannot lay in bed at night with a man that has put a woman on a noose because she refused for life at your expense as a woman. Literally, your husband had to die. Society is good riddance without him. When you know his statistics, you wouldn't even be all that bereaved. Ha ke sa tlo dila ka monna o tlo manifestisang letawa la mo jarateng abe ang abuse ever again. It stops ngamhlanje, and God made that clear. Ke bile le engwe toro of a whole bunch of people ba surrender. Long tlogela lang kutlo. The way leng tshwereng ka teng ka di jerese le di washing, you're gonna let go. Celebrity engwe ke yo mo e apere e tlo apara empe a ikonopetseng up to molala mo, rather than carry on ka rabishe. Long tlogela le jweditse ka pride hore ha les baye long kgolwa ene long tlogela because lo bona di colleagues tsa lona di bodiswa ke supernatural phenomenon. Let's ka raka le wona. So I will say this one last time. Filth has declared war, but only because that's how God is killing it. I warned you. I'm signing out in the name of Christ, Cran K. Peace.